Alright everyone, we're back with Svavelvinter, the role-playing game, Sulphur Winter. We are back with the beginning stages of Book 2, The Eyes of the Oracle. And this evening, this session will be devoted to agents of various shadow powers. Unfortunately, since Sonatas had to step away from the game, we wish her the very best. She was doing amazing things in intriguey, courtly halls and elsewhere, and yeah, we'll miss her. I'm sure, I hope that she will keep following the narrative, who knows. So instead, no big boots to fill or anything, Drake. I'm sure everything's gonna be fine, no pressure, hi.
Yeah, no pressure at all.
So, with us tonight, I actually have Drake first on my windows here, so why don't you introduce yourself and the character, the name. I will make sure to fix our overlays so that we can see names and all that stuff later on.
Alright, I am Drake, new to this game, and I am playing Rubello da Sampra, who is a holy man, a priest if you will. I
Indeed.
was taken on this boat to help with the issues happening across the sea.
Yes, plenty of issues. And next to Drake, we have Josh.
Hey folks, Josh LaPointe, and I'm playing Erald the Mereld, and Erald is part of the Animist Inquisition, and glad to see another religious fellow here amongst our order.
Indeed. And then John.
My name is John Fuller. I play Promos ab Gol Monda, the guy with the boat, and two churchmen upon it, apparently.
Apparently, yes. And then Jess.
My name's Jessica Lapointe, and I play Supreme General Praanz da Kaelve, because every game I give myself a new title. I can. And
Right.
she's essentially, through her wife, the head of the Digitalonga at this point, and she's not above taking a few fingernails if she needs to.
No, it's in fact what she does for sport every once in a while. Dear. This show is rated R because lots of characters here are terrible. They are protagonists, they have things they struggle with, but they are also, and this goes for both groups, regularly committing war crimes, things of that nature. You have been warned, audience.
Yay, war crimes.
Exactly.
We're horrible, horrible people.
Some of us.
Some more than others. There are
Promos has
degrees.
done nothing wrong.
Right? He kind of left someone to die in a water, but accidents happen at sea.
People die in the water every day.
This is absolutely true.
You can blame Praanz, it's fine.
Let's blame
It's
Praanz.
100% Praanz's fault. She will take the blame. Yeah.
No blame. Nothing wrong has been done.
Exactly.
natural causes.
Exactly.
Water
And
is
I'm
natural.
sure Erald is not above torturing people if they're anti-creationists.
Right?
I am above that, thank you. That's what Guello's for.
See? He has an escape clause. Wasn't me, it was him. That is hilarious. Did anyone want to summarize last session? It's been a while because we had people were sick and we had holidays and so on and so forth. So it really was a little bit of a while since we played last, and I do think, was John here last time?
I was not.
You were not. And Drake wasn't here either. Now, Drake, you really should rename yourself Jake so we have the perfect J. Everybody else starts with a J. Anyway.
No, absolutely not.
But Josh and Jess, you were here, right? So,
I believe so, yep.
if you want a fate die for retelling what happened last time, please do so.
I think it was sketchy shit at the temples, wasn't it?
It was very much sketchy shit at the temple, yes.
Yeah, we went to go figure out what was going on in the Mountains of Silence
Yes.
and discuss the prophecy. And we figured out that they really don't know what the fuck they're talking about, but people are killing them anyway, so.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah, that's probably a good summary.
Oh, Allesella's gonna be so smug when he hears it.
Yeah, and then the intention originally was that, let's see now, that Erald was going to stay there for a while in case things happened, but then because real life impeded, you weren't really able to, unfortunately. So, real life impeded. So why did Erald leave the mountain at a strategic moment? Or maybe he came back at just the wrong moment. That is a possibility too.
Yeah, I'm happy with either of those options, to be honest. And it could be something as simple as he left Mount Ranz to actually maybe make his way over back to Traklev, where he met up previously with the gentleman was actually at Mount Ranz during that session, I think. Josh, bad with names. The storyteller. It's the easiest way I can describe it, Mikkel. The gentleman that was writing the story for the narrative.
Oh, Briar?
Yeah, Briar. Looking for Briar. So Erald maybe went looking for Briar to make sure that the most recent findings at Mount Ranz was properly documented.
Only to discover that Briar had gone to Mount Ranz while you went away. So now I have to go back again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, either, to be honest, either that or, to your point, IRL got in the way. So anything that's convenience is okay with Erald. So.
Very well. So I'm thinking here about how you're all gonna arrive at the mountain, because I think Praanz is going. I mean,
Praanz never went very far. She went to report to Lavina, which is like a couple miles away from the mountain.
Yeah.
And then when she got information from her spies about what was happening to the monks, she probably would have written at Lavina's behest.
Yeah.
Would have written to Erald and been like, "Hey, there's religious nasties going on. I'm assuming you guys want in on this."
And I have a quick message to Drake for why you might be going to the mountain.
Oh boy. Are there spirits haunting the mountain?
Yeah. There we go. It's a private Zoom chat message. So now everybody has a reason to go to the mountain, which is not bad. We like that. I need to check a couple of notes. Yes. So this is actually going to be then early on the 9th of Fateska. And this clock is completely wrong for where we're supposed to be. Something like 7-ish in the morning. It's a freezing day. There is actually a bit of rain. Thank you, generator. Isn't it nice? It's a long story with rain on my maps because the Foundry module that does weather, the former one that I used before, just gave us torrential rain almost all the time. It was kind of hilarious, actually. If you have been, where have you been going to look for Briar, Erald?
Well, the last time that I met him, other than obviously at Mount Ranz, I think at one point during last session, was actually at, I thought, either Kamest or Triklev, because it was one of the libraries.
Tresilva, yes, there is a big library in Tresilva, of course.
Yep. Yeah, and that's where I think I originally met him the first time through, and he kind of gave us his copy and rendition of everything. So that's about the only other spot that you would know
this is the funny part here, because I'm seeing how this kind of worked out. You were at Ranz very early, and you talked to the Pietro Petralba, you talked to some of the monks. There was one or two other people there, but almost nobody. And then Praanz decided to go up to Helterham and talk to Linvina, and you went to Tresilva to talk to Briar. But somehow you must have missed each other. Like, you went this way downriver and he went upriver in a different boat. Because when you get to Tresilva, the word will be, yeah, no, he went to Ranz. So you're like, dang.
Never dull. Yep.
Never dull. But for convenience sake, you might just have run into an interesting fellow called... What's your religious title, by the way? Rubello. Are you perhaps Barú or Mashmashu? These are different religious titles.
I have no clue what either one of those would be.
Yeah, they basically are... Like, if you are more of a ranking priest or a master of ceremony.
I would say a ranking priest.
Okay, so Barú Rubello da Sampra.
Okay.
Yep.
That's not going to get confusing at all.
No, we also have Barú Erald, so, you know, yeah. It's basically like father or something.
Yeah.
But I'm going to say, for convenience sake, that you are running into Erald in Tresilva, and you're looking for a boat to take you to Ranz anyway.
Convenient.
Yes! Maybe the gods willed it so.
Ah, hello, Barú Rubello. How are you?
I am fine, Barú Erald. How about yourself?
Good. I was just here trying to find somebody, but unfortunately I think I might have just left where he was going to, back at Mount Ranz.
Well, I don't know what to tell you, buddy.
What, Silva?
My boss wants me to check in with Lady Taralese de... Oh, this is Bravaletti. Taralese de Bravaletti. My boss wants me to check in and get a report from her.
Ah, well, if I'm not mistaken, she's probably down there currently, or at least in that region. More than welcome to come back with me. I can at least escort you all the way to Mount Ranz.
It'd be much better than going alone.
Yes. And depending on, I think there might even be possibly a boat that we can take down here.
There just might be. Promos is very often in Tresilva, is he not?
Yeah, he kind of drifts in and out depending on what time of year and where the tides are. By now, I'm sure like Erald has used his, has used him as a courier a couple of times. So like he knows kind of the weird back alley channels. Go talk to the guy at the dock and he'll tell you where Promos was last found.
Okay, excellent.
So he's pretty easy to track down.
Yeah. So with that said, that quite literally would be what Erald goes ahead and does is finds through the back channels here where maybe Promos is located, and so, yeah, then there's another Barú here in tow whenever we probably show up to where your boat stopped.
The Barú Bros.
There
Yes,
you go.
But I don't know. Would Rubello still be dressed in the vestments of a Kishati priest? I don't think so, since he's a refugee and a defector, right?
He would probably be in more rag-like clothing.
Like the typical robe for a Kishati priest is just a black robe, right? Just black robe. But yeah, maybe not wearing that anymore. It's still simple. It's still not going to be opulent or you're not going to be wearing LJ silk. That's for nobles.
No, but it would be a bit better than a random bag with a few armholes.
So coarse linen, and are we in robes, or is this like hoses and boots and a belt and a hood?
Could it be a hooded robe?
I suppose it could be, yeah.
It's a perfect disguise for a holy man. You wear black robes, you put on a gray robe instead.
A gray robe.
Like they know you
fancy.
They know you by the white robes, do they? Well, I'm wearing a brown robe. Screw you.
Yeah, the
Yeah,
white
yeah,
robes is
that's
what
true.
Erald is wearing. He has the white robes of the Inquisition, so...
Oh yeah, see what they're getting at, you'll see right through them.
It's true. It's quite ironic actually. Now that I got thinking of it, Mikael, because you just pointed it out exactly. White robe and black robe, right?
Yep.
Yeah, but yeah.
Eric Gronström does that all the time. This entire world is just Eric Gronström's internal playing with words. And doing
Nice.
a bunch of high context jokes. Anyway, so you will set out, and I'm gonna say that this is not gonna happen the 9th. It's gonna happen the 8th or something like, maybe the 7th, because it takes like a day or so to travel up the river.
Okay.
And you don't have to roll any navigation around here, because this is so well traveled. Like, it's up a river. How wrong can you go? and this river is also a highway. It's super high trafficked. Like, it's probably the most trafficked river in the Empire. There are boats everywhere going up and down. There are people lining the shores, selling you whatever they can make you grab in exchange for money. Like,
It's essentially the Thames.
yes, very much so. Very much so. Don't drink the water.
Finally.
Going up
That's-
this...
That's
go-
general very good advice. Don't drink the water.
Don't drink the water.
Stick to the booze.
Yeah,
Great.
there's people in the water, and the fish fuck in the water, and don't. That's why you go. That's why you go to the taverns.
And yeah, there's also a bit of a smell over the water because, of course, the city of Kamest here is the place where Silvolium from Hiltre, from Helterham, from the Criffer Woods, all this under Linvina's duchy, is refined. So the sap from the trees is refined into Silvolium in Kamest. So it's a very industrial city. You have foundries everywhere distilling the sap and turning it into Silvolium, which for listeners, viewers, is in fact kerosene. So it's going to smell very, very oily. The houses are all dressed in the weave made out of the asbast weed. Asbast, of course, being the Criffer weed that has overgrown much of Karamak. There's some in Hodjar as well. It's a type of grass that is fire resistant. You just can't burn it off at all from the fields. So when it has established itself somewhere, it's impossible to get rid of it. So, like, Karamak is overrun, the province is overrun by this. So they've literally had to, like, dig deep ditches so that the seeds can't get across. And so they can't grow wheat there. But they can use this Criffer weed and harvest it and turn it into weaves, like basket weavers would, of asbast. And this particular material you put on houses or under the keel of a boat if you're afraid of wildfire in Trismira. And it's fire resistant, which is perfect for a place like Kamest, where someone knocking over a whole barrel full of Silvolium and right next to a candle is a real risk, because the whole city could go up. So yeah, there's lots of asbest weaves on the houses here. Just for safety, you know. Also stinks horribly. Other interesting smells you will feel as you travel up the river is, of course, that of tilled earth. It's, I don't know how used Rubello will be to these innovations. The plow that turns the soil, that's something that you don't have in Lasimos.
He would know of it, he just wouldn't. He advises people to use it.
So it's a weird thing, that kind of innovation. But they use it here in Paratorna, and therefore you have all the smells of fields that have recently been turned and prepared with manure, because it is the 3rd month of the year, and soon enough the growing season will start. So that's another interesting perfume of the lands, if you will.
Wafting in the smell of fecal matter.
Yes, that is exactly what you are doing. Not quite the kind of ocean breeze that Promos might be used to, but it's something.
It's not a place where you like to hang out too much, and if you stay in the houses for too long, your lungs start to hurt a bit, and don't stick around here. But come and visit.
Before we go any further, because I almost forgot again, what is your character's temporary goal for this and possibly next session? Please define, and because Drake hasn't done this before, I'm going to ask Josh first.
Sure. Well, it definitely was not achieved, I guess, further from last time I had my temporary goal here. But I'm going to probably reword it or change it from basically the anti-creationist leads that I was working on to now trying to decipher the Vox Resina.
Mm-hmm. Decipher the Vox Ranzina. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep. And preferably put the creationist stuff in a good light.
Right. What about Praanz?
Well, we kind of got the mess at the Ticatolonga partially cleaned up.
Yep.
So that's better now. So now it's figuring out what's going on with the disappearing monks and if what she's been told from her spies is the full story. And if that's the case, then putting out the appropriate warrants. So essentially figuring out the disappearing monks.
Very well. And then we had Promos. What is Promos' temporary goal?
I think so. So Promos is carting around Erald and our new friend Rubella, right?
Yep.
Does Erald have any idea of where they need to go?
Oh yeah. They're going to Mount Ranz.
Okay, so we're going down that river inland.
Yep.
Exactly. Yep.
What is something in that area that Promos may have heard of but never seen? What's the biggest ball of twine in the Hiltra Mountains?
Did you ever in the Hiltra Mountains? Did you ever actually see the Mount Ranz?
Promos has not.
Then that
he's never been that far inland.
That is definitely it. Yes, Mount Ranz. So see Mount Ranz then is your.
His goal is to get some kind of souvenir for the boat.
Get a souvenir of Mount Ranz.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
Never been there.
Very good. Okay then. So then we can ask the same for Rubello. What would be Rubello's personal temporary goal that you can do in maybe this session or the next, over 2 sessions, something like that?
Would I be able to get in contact with Lady Terralisi?
Potentially. So I will put up as a temporary goal, find Lady Terralisi. How about that?
Yeah, that works for me. That's what I was going for, and if I couldn't do that, then I'd find something like talk to some spirits. Convince some wind spirits to do my bidding.
That might work. Yeah, no, I think find Lady Terralisi is an excellent temporary goal. All right, so, yeah. You are traveling up and so on. It's going to take you about 24 hours, I would say, to go from Tresilva to Ranz, which brings us to, in fact, the next day. You're going to be on the 8th. Let's see now, I'm just looking at a couple of notes here. Yeah, that's fine. You're going to arrive on the 9th, yes, and you're left on the 8th. There we go. Early morning of the 9th of the 3rd month of the year, which is called Fteska, I will say that the first person to arrive, and you're going to be arriving ridiculously early, something around 7-ish, when it's still very hazy and misty. It's cold, it's below freezing. Is Aberlax with you, Bronze?
Who?
Aberlax, the ogre?
Oh, the ogre, yes. He's my personal guard at this point, so
or has
yes.
he been, because he was also called to run, so maybe he was in the camp all along, I don't know.
No, she would have taken him back and forth with her. He is her
Good.
personal guard at this point.
Excellent.
I'm just gonna keep that NPC. That one's mine.
That one is yours. In the early hours, as two boats are arriving from two different sides of the world, one from the east and one from the west, it's going to be slightly foggy because of just how cold the morning is. It's, as I mentioned, just below freezing. And yeah, there's a lot of commotion up here by oh, that was a bit more fog than I intended, sorry. There is a bit of commotion, some voices up there by the mountain. To describe this, it is, I mean, I'm not going to say it's a terribly tall mountain necessarily. It's certainly looks tall, maybe because it's the end of the mountain range. It's a white mountain. And as you can see here on the map that I have switched to, there are various caves and scaffolding to reach them on the mountain side, and an interesting type of living residence. I don't know. You can see people going in and out of the mouth of the skull of a huge something that comes straight out of the mountain. It's like it was fused with the mountain as the skull thrusts out. And maybe the Ranzine monks were just very good at stonemasonry. That could be a case. But there are definitely guards by the boats down here, like lots of them. And
This
the
is
moment
different from the last time.
What was that?
This is different from the last time.
Last time, yes. Last time there were no Trakorian guards at all. This time there is, by your trained eyes, you will see about a legion worth, which is almost 500 men. But that's not strange because you called for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you called. You sent for a proper, you asked Lady Taralisi to send for that, and she did, because of her considerable influence as a shadow power here. So
Jess forgets what she does from one session to another sometimes.
Yeah, so that's exactly. They are here because of you and Lady Taralisi.
Okay,
you called
that's
them in.
fine then.
These are your people.
I will go over and inspect my legion then.
They will be like, "Hold! Who goes there?"
She kind of laughs that they don't recognize her at this point. I am General Praanz da Kaelve.
Wait, hold on a moment. I need to just push a button somewhere. Someone is trying to reach me somewhere, I think. Can't even
The burden of being popular.
Right? Why would someone do it now? Ah. Sorry about that. Okay,
No
anyway.
worries. Yeah, she would go over and introduce herself. Stand at attention, soldier.
Yes, that went. What's your reputation level again? So you have
Probably-
reputation now?
I don't think it's as high as
6.
it's
Yeah,
my sheet.
okay, yeah. Vroom! Just
Yeah, 6.
absolutely.
Actually need to buy another point of noble due to the marriage to the Duchess.
General!
Yes, I've come to inspect.
Excellent, excellent. Captain Mackel has much to report.
Good. So
They
she
are
will
looking
go-
at each other, and anyone has any good water here to check how they're, the general mood here?
Mine's only a 2.
Same.
If I'm there, insight.
Right.
I believe my water is also a 2.
Why am I opened... Whoa, okay, I must have opened from the wrong spot. There we go. Better? Yes. Whew! I opened your character sheet from your token and got nothing. Anyway, you guys might arrive a little bit later. Yes.
Okay, so I'll
Okay.
roll my 2 dice then.
Yes, please.
I got
There's a
A6.
sense of trepidation and fear even among these people.
Among the soldiers?
Yep. This
Okay.
soldier seems to be very happy to not be delivering a report to you.
Oh, somebody's gonna get their arse kicked. That's gonna be fun. So she will leave her troll ogre. Ogre? Is it an ogre or a troll?
It's a tall gold, technically speaking.
Togold.
Toll
That
gold.
doesn't answer my question.
The-
She'll leave her
say a
Togold.
Goliath. In D&D terms, it would be a Goliath.
Okay.
The big man.
Yeah,
Big
the
man.
big man.
She'll leave her Goliath among the soldiers, and
Major Aberlax at your service.
keep eye.
Is he a major
And she'll
now,
go-
or is he being promoted to colonel? I don't know.
He's whatever I tell him he is. Praanz is just making up titles at this point. And she'll go receive her report.
Yeah. I mean, there's obviously the barracks. They've set up a camp that wasn't there last time you were here with Praetorian efficiency, all the little, it's a small stockade,
Yeah.
basically.
Expected. The general,
Yeah. So you will go there and ask around until you meet with Captain Maclo. Yeah. Maclo da Grummi. He stands at attention and becomes white as a sheet. General!
Captain,
General,
report.
He looks a bit tired. He is, like, his uniform is as, it's not like you have, formal uniforms the way we think of them today or in the 19th century or whatever, but his tabard is wrinkled, he's been sweating for a while, he has a bit of a 5 o'clock shade because he has not shaved this morning. He looks like a man who's been burning the midnight oil from the candle from both ends all night.
Okay.
General. Yes.
You got any coffee in this tent? Or
Yeah.
mocha. You call it mocha here.
Yes, we call it mocha here. Yes, of course. We can.
Let's
boy,
have a
get me
mocha
some
and-
mocha right now for the general.
You can give me your reports. Because obviously something shady is going on.
It is the worst possible news, General, and you miss it with this much.
Of course I did.
Well, of course, the situation as it was here. The Piotr Petralba and his Ranzine monks have invited all sorts of people who were on Marjura 2 years ago.
Lots of riffraff.
Yep, and I mean, you can hear some, it's not a lot of noise or anything, but there are people up in the pavilions that were almost empty when you were here last. It's a lot more people there now. And yes, they have been spending the last few days in more or less drunken revelry. General, I've had my people watching them to make sure they weren't up to any mischief, of course, but for the most part, they were, well, what can I say?
Riffraff.
Yes, riffraff. For the most part, we just had to act as guarding people from hitting each other when they were in drunken rage. Town guards. That's what we were. Anyway, General, to the point. More guests arrived yesterday. Actually, just about noon. They weren't Praetorians, at least. That much I know. But we don't mess with these guests because the Piotr has asked them in, and we want to maintain the peace. I understand that the Budak thinks that's very important, so we keep our distance. At any rate, the point is, the day went on nicely, calmly enough. Everything was fine until about a watch in after midnight. And at that point, things went terribly wrong.
So what went south, soldier?
Assassination.
Of who?
The Piotr Petralba himself and a couple of his monks.
Who?
Oh,
Please tell me we have somebody in custody.
He just hangs his head in shame. That is not all. One of the, at least 2 of the guests are dead too.
Do we have any leads? Anything?
Yes,
Something.
yes, I have compiled a list here. And he shuffles some papers. Yes. Highest on my list of suspects is a group of visitors that came from, I understand, Palamux and or...
Does he hand her the list?
Yep.
Is it who I think it is?
Yep.
All right, soldier. We are going...
And the reason why I suspect these is because they were very early at the scene of the crime, where
I
the Piotr
also very
was
much...
dying. But instead of cooperating with us and handing over any type of evidence to the Crown, they used spell work on myself.
Mm-hmm.
And stole the body of a suspected murderer. No doubt to cover up the crime.
These riffraff have been also seen at the disappearance of at least 2 other monks. So yes, they are very high on our suspect list.
Where they are, I do not know. We have searched high and low and found no trace of them, General.
I will be putting in the paperwork by the end of today. They will be on the Crown's most wanted list.
Of course. And at about this time...
The promise is there.
Yes. The rest of you have arrived and...
Praanz looks very angry.
Yeah, Promos is there.
Yeah, he's just standing in the back with a cup of stolen coffee, just sort of like, oh.
Muttering something about that fucker killed me once, he's not going to get to do it again.
Moment of your time, General. Is it Grand High General now? Are you a potentate yet?
I think it is Grand Marshal General now. I'm not really sure.
Oh, Grand Marshal then.
Whatever's convenient.
Your guards here, they're looking for a Trinismiran with a boat.
Yes, why?
Where are they looking? Promus is gonna like point at the guy and like it. I need to make this perfectly clear. He has 0 rank. He wears no military insignia. He is just a random guy with a goofy looking hat amongst these military.
No, and Praanz is giving him
men.
more attention than she's giving the captain.
He's gonna kind of like look at the captain and be like, "You said you can't find hair of him, yeah?"
That's the long and the short of it.
Where are you looking?
All over these camps. We've had the runners out into the forests and... Yep.
Oh, knowing these bastards.
Well, and take it from a Trinismiran with a boat. If they're using your Trinismiran fella for his boat, he's not going to be on the land.
But the docks here have all been under heavy patrol all night. And the moment we heard the alarm, we doubled the guards.
Right, but that doesn't mean they didn't run while they spelled you.
All boats were accounted for. We locked down the piers solidly. Nobody was allowed to go in and out from their houses. Yep.
Could have skipped out into that forest nearby too.
Perhaps it would have been a near call.
I would not put anything past these. I don't have an insult strong enough for them.
This Trinismiran fella, how much you know about him? Where's he from? What side of the rock?
It says here in my documents, Vumbra. That will be the east side, yes.
The Glachwater type.
The others were from Palamux, I think. One is a Cargomitian, has tattoos everywhere. They're not the only ones missing, though. There are a couple of other guests, too. Yeah.
Who else is missing?
A princess.
Which princess?
Cargomitian princess. She's known as... I've taken all the names from all the guests. Dija Damagi. The Krimbid. She's from Cargum. Yeah.
I
and
know that
she's...
name too.
Say again?
I think I know. Do I know that name?
You do indeed. She was on Merjura, and you,
Okay.
in fact, were interrogating her and her wrestling boyfriend, or boy toy.
Yes.
I don't know which.
I remember that.
And her manager Roba Redcalf on
Right.
Warhammer.
I offered her manager a job and she didn't take
You
it.
did, yes. And she was here together with a wrestler by the name of Gistaki da Soblak.
Mm. Yes, they can certainly go on the list as well.
Very well, ma'am.
They will be found, they will be tried, and they will be executed.
Yes, that sounds appropriate. General, there is...
I have reason to believe they are also involved with the Restless Dead.
Oh.
So,
General, may I ask?
yes.
There is another, shall we say, delicate matter here. So, the Pietro Petralba, of course, is the most delicate matter. There is another monk, a couple of other monks who were killed. A reveler was the suspected murderer. In fact, he was there ransacking the place when I entered myself and confronted him and cut him down. Never got to know who it was. But yeah, the final casualty is here listed as Lady Taralesi de Bravaletti. She was not in the actual skull house. She was in her guest quarters, and some kind of, slit her throat.
Has their body been found?
Oh, yes. She was in her
It
bra.
needs to be prepared with the utmost respect.
Very well.
Lady Taralisi is a close personal friend of mine.
She's of course no longer in the bath, General. She's been put on a proper table awaiting burial and yourself and your inspections.
Of course. At this point, Praanz looks like if you could have anger embodied, that would be Praanz's face right now. Like, she looks like if it wasn't her soldier sitting in front of her, they would probably be dead.
I think Promos is gonna he's got that half cup of coffee. He's just gonna kind of press it into Praanz's hands and tell the captain, "You need to go find us some sugar." Go.
Praanz will produce a
Yes,
flask
yes.
and pour a shot into the cup of coffee before she drinks it.
Yeah, the captain finds himself running for sugar, even though he should send someone else. But the general...
The last time anybody has seen this look on Praanz's face, it was Taralisi as they were leaving Majora.
Probos is gonna give give Praanz all the time that she needs. He doesn't really say much for a while. He's just kind of there.
Yeah, because Praanz looks very much like a wounded predator right now.
Yeah, and after like an uncomfortably long amount of time, he's gonna say, "You've got the big man out with the boat, and Erald's got his man. We've got 2 priests and the body of our friend. Where do we start?"
The body needs to be taken care of first, and then I need to find these bastards, because they need to die.
I can try scouting around, but again, if he's Trinismiran, if he's got a little slit, he's going to be a real
Gone.
bitch to track.
No,
Your other...
but I will be plastering their faces fucking everywhere.
If it's a small boat, they won't be able to carry that many people. Small boats get in and out, but you can't take a whole herd with you.
No, what I understand,
So-
I think there's only 5 of them. If that. But I know they're well connected in the rebels, too.
You buy me a little bit of time and let me around the room, and I can see what I can see, but I can make no promises.
Thank you. I will go break the news to Erald.
While all this is going on, Erald and Rubello, what have you been doing outside? This is. Let me set the scene a little bit for you guys, a little bit further, because like General has been so target focused. This little village here, it's what, 100 people or so. There is no tavern. There's a small town hall, perhaps a smithy. But these people live as fishers for the most part. There might be one or two smaller fields. You have to grow some cabbages, grow some stuff for your kitchen. There's going to be a few hogs, some chickens running around. Typical rural village inventory. Further up here, you have some pavilions. One of them is closed down, but there's also a lot of people there, and there's going to be a good probably 100 there as well. They are dressed in very fine clothes, many of them. Very much nobles, you can see at the distance. They have the sun as it's coming up above the horizon will be glinting in their jewelry and very fine vestments and clothes. Some of them, at least. Not all of them, but quite a few of them will have. And you will hear the sounds of people who are well into their cups already. Maybe the party never ended there. Who knows? Further up is the weird skull and other houses where things are considerably more silent right now. And Trakorian soldiers. There's going to be probably 3 or 4 or 5 soldiers per villager. Like, it's a lot. And the villagers are just about getting ready for their day. Well, actually, I think the fishers have already left because, they leave before dawn. But those who are tending to their animals, someone is out milking their cow, someone is letting the sheep go to this place, and someone is repairing something. The day has begun in the village, and everyone is quiet. Though there's also a lot of fear in their eyes. They're clearly worried, these villagers. So what is Rubello and Erald up to?
You can go ahead first.
Yeah, no, it's all good. So yeah, Erald basically being here first kind of gives the high-level tour-esque of the region here, explaining basically that the huge ivory head that's up over there in the distance is basically where we were brought in last time I was here to actually read the Vox Ranzina and find out additional information around it in the prophecy. And then I've basically gestured over towards the... Don't know if that was on purpose or not.
That was. I'm trying to save a macro and hit the wrong button. My apologies.
Okay, no, it's all good. All I seen was Trakorian soldier. I was like, oh, are they basically like, uh-oh?
No, my apologies.
Don't talk. Don't talk about over there. And then I'll gesture towards the huts basically on the hill and mention that last time we were here, we were basically provided abode there, and and that I'm hoping that I can basically meet up with Briar Briskfoot here within the city.
Yeah, if you and Rubello and Guillo, of course, are out walking a bit here, then sooner or later you will in fact run into Briar. He is in the pavilions together with other people. Some of them you might recognize, Erald. You were up in the Procurator's house that night when there was a big feast,
yes, I recognize Silesia.
Yeah, Silesia, the Procurator's widow, she is there.
Yes.
And so is, a whole gaggle of nobles that were also there. Like, all these guys were also at the party. They're... I'm not even sure they're awake at this point. If any of them are awake, they're still drunk from last night. They're just...
Okay.
But Briar is up bright and early, and looking. He has a small. He has a collection of little hammers, and his collection, like his iron ring with all sorts of ore samples that are hanging from them, and like bags.
Yep.
And he will be looking up and, oh, Barú Erald, such a pleasure. How are you today?
Good, Briar Briskfoot. Good. I'd like to introduce you to somebody, and I gesture here over towards Barú Rubello, and says, a fellow Barú here from basically overseas.
I
Oh,
will bow my head. pleasure to make your acquaintance, Briar.
Oh, the pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. Yes, a friend of Barú. Erald is a friend of mine. A friend of the cloth, it seems, too. Yes, we all could use the blessings of the gods right now. That much is for sure. I have been really eager to I know I shouldn't. This is a sacred mountain, and I will respect the sanctity of the mountain. I will, but I have to admit, I am curious if there is any ore, if there's ore here that might in fact explain the sanctified properties of the mountain. I would have to get into the caves to do that, and I'm not entirely sure that I feel comfortable with disturbing the Pietro. he's a busy man, you know. There are some caves up apparently behind the temple itself. I haven't ventured there today yet. I will later. It's for prayers and meditation. We have all been instructed. Have you also been instructed to meditate upon the Vox Franzina? I've been instructed.
Yes.
Okay.
Last time I was here, we were asked to meditate, and unfortunately, nothing came up.
Yeah, me neither. It doesn't seem to speak to me at all. Maybe if Mount Ranz had some metal ore and could speak to me that way. Through music, perhaps.
Music, like the wind. Have you tried consulting the wind?
I am not at all a friend of the winds, I'm afraid, Barú. He produces one of his little sacks and produces a piece of ore. No, this is my work. You see, I am not in tune with the gods or the world of the ethereal at all, but I am in tune with ore. See, I made a pun there. That is my study. I am a simple scholar, you see, and I have been across Trakoria and up to Marjura even, searching for all sorts of different metal ore samples in the pursuit of finding the perfect harmonies. See, the musical property of metals can be the key to many things that modern medicine have completely overlooked. I'm completely convinced. I have, for example, studied here that if we go to Himbergondi granite and use number 3 iron and play it in a 3/4 frequency, then I do believe that it can cure nosebleeds in Safinians.
I look over at Barú Rubello at this point and basically give him the most, like, he's crazy and he knows it look as I'm nodding.
Is there a plague of nosebleeds that need curing?
Yeah, nosebleed is a fairly common occurrence, but I'm of course thinking of all sorts of balancing of the bodily humors. Bile, all of them. Phlegm, all of them. But I do need to keep studying, you see. I've been so sadly sidetracked last year because of the whole Marjura incident. And I also have to say, very sadly, I found the most remarkable iron ore on Marjura. And now all that is left is this, and he holds this little rock, a completely black rock. All that is left of the Iron Tower. It collapsed. I tell you, Erald, the purity of the iron ore on which the Iron Tower rested. You could play straight on the harmonies that came out. I will never hear its like again, I fear. I've spent a good deal of a year looking through the Himbergon Mountains for anything like it after I came to Isakra, and no, nothing.
Well, you might be able to find...
Oh.
You might be able to find something here.
Oh, but the Hiltra Mountains have never been known for much iron ore, I'm afraid.
No, but I meant something of further interest or research. Back to the comments of,
I have been very much blessed by the fact that there are monks here who can speak to the mountain, and this is quite fascinating to me, I do say. Though it seems sometimes they are speaking on a different frequency than I am used to. A lower frequency, if you will. Yes.
Okay. So yes, Briar, the reason I was actually trying to find you originally was, and surprisingly enough, we just went to Trickcliff actually looking for you, and we were told you were here, so we must have missed each other in transit. Was actually to get your opinion on the Vox Transina.
Ah, I see. Yes, on the Vox Transina. I have read it, of course. I don't think it applies very much to my research, but if you need my help in any way, of course I'll help. I'm not sure I can help, but...
Yeah, I know that at one point we'll probably be reaching out here with... I apologize. Well, I know that whenever we came in here off the boat, I seen Promos immediately leave, and I'm sure, based off the amount of guards that's here, that most likely our dear friend Praanz is probably around also. But at some point, before you leave, please do come chat with me, as I'd like to get your opinion on a couple of things.
Of course,
as I've been
absolutely.
trying to.
Yes, I have nothing better to do. I can come with you right now.
Excellent. Well, let's go see if we can find Promos. I know that I did see him leave his ship relatively quick here, but
away. And so you slip away back, I suppose, to the tent where, yeah, the guards will be like, no entry.
Is that the point where Praanz comes stalking up?
Yeah, that might just be the point where, yeah.
Okay. So Praanz comes stalking up, and Erald will recognize the look on her face, and he has only seen it once before, when she left her lover on Majora. Who's this? She's pointing to Rubello, because I think I would recognize Briar, wouldn't I?
Yes, you would.
Okay. Pointing to Rubello. Who's this?
This is Barú Rubello. He is, well, Barú
Is he
Rubello,
safe?
Yes, 100%. So as another man of the cloth, he's perfectly safe.
Those rebellious, anti-creationist fucks got Terralisi.
Oh no. We should probably go get those guys. Lady Terralisi, I needed her report.
They're not easy to find, or they would already be dead.
I could ask the winds. Maybe the winds can help us.
Whatever wiggity shit you can do would be great.
Are we going to do some work here? Speaking of doing some work, those of you who are attuned to the etheric forces of the world feel very few around here, which is weird to both Erald and Rubello, a sacred site. So, as you know, there is creationist magic, there's anti-creationist magic, there are etheric flows when someone has done something. So, when a priest has invoked the will of the gods and done miracle work, creationist magic, there will be residue left after that. There will be, etheric flows that reflect the sanctity of a sacred place. There's very little of it here, which is weird. This feels more like... It feels like this place is closed, basically. It's like the Ranzian Order has stopped performing their rituals.
So... Praanz.
She was bound with her throat slit in her quarters. They also killed the
Pietro?
The Pietro and 2 other monks on their way out.
Oh.
Yeah.
That's what I'm feeling then.
Yeah. I also have authority that they've been seen at the disappearance of 2 other Ranzian monks in other areas. They nearly killed me. Now they've killed Terralisi. They need to die.
Briar is just looking absolutely confused.
Preferably slowly, but I'll settle for quickly if I have to.
Well, it's excellent to hear that the authorities are on the case, says Briar, and tries to look
as awkwardly as possible.
Yes.
The situation.
Praanz is definitely giving off, like I said, wounded predator vibes, like somebody kicked your dog.
Yeah, I think Promos is kind of trying to do like damage control, like walking over to Briar and just being like, "Hey, you should go." Like the whole face thing you've got. You should take it elsewhere, man. Go. Well, just in the general away.
He
wait.
kind of starts walking away and looks over his shoulder, shrugs, looks over his samples again, produces a little notebook, and yeah, he's very confused as he leaves.
We'll find you if we need you. Just be a good distance from here.
She snaps her fingers to her Goliath to follow, and basically just mostly to clear the crowd so that nobody
Yeah, this
gets
man,
in her way.
This man, because of course poor Rubello has never seen this fella. Let me describe him for you. He's big. I have that. It was a long time since I had to describe this fellow last time. But big and ugly, I think, is two words that come to mind. He is easily a head taller than the tallest soldier around, so count 8 or 9 feet maybe. 8 certainly. His arms are as thick as logs and very hairy. His legs are kind of short, so it almost makes the impression that his arms are longer and almost, reach down to the knees or something. Or maybe that's just because he's so very bow-legged. He has a face that only a mother could love, maybe. It seems to be put together by whatever was left over from someone else's creation process. Huge jaw, a sunken in upper jaw, enormous ears, a nose that is just a bit of a stub, very thick eyebrows, teeth that go every which way, and a little mop of black hair on top. Yeah.
So he was born in the ugly tree and hit every branch on the way down.
Yeah, you could say that. And he's standing there and then moving just as you ordering him. Major, relax, orders you all to, and he will clear the way.
That's why Praanz uses him as intimidation, because if she's not scary enough, he definitely is.
he's big and burly.
Yeah.
Rubello, did you want to do consult the winds, as you say?
Sure, I would love to.
Do you want to wait till we're near her body first?
Yeah, that would make a bit more sense.
Because that was the intention. Next was to go take a look at the body and let you guys do the priestly blessing things.
Or the scene of where they were all murdered probably would also make sense if there was any fire around.
I would
Erald speaks up.
love to take a look at the scenes. I'm not sure how much evidence we'll actually get, because my soldiers found them, and God only knows what they've traipsed through.
Yep.
They're soldiers, not investigators. So,
Yep,
Would Promus's pathfinding skill be useful for this?
I think so. I mean, you're not a crime scene investigator formally, but
No.
pathfinding, you can spend fate dice on rolls to find the way on journeys through the wild. A master tracker would be better.
Goals to
No.
work towards.
Yep.
I don't know if any of us really have
Not really. Crime scene
proper
investigation.
investigation. No.
The best thing I have for that would be whispering to the winds.
Yep. I mean, you can
hear the
actually
winds
ask the
50,000.
winds what has happened here. It's not going to be, the winds. They are the most fickle of all the kinds of spirits in the world, obviously. Where the stone and the earth is slow and stable and never moves anywhere, and therefore it's hard to talk to stone, you would imagine, because would it even notice that we were here before it wakes up? I don't know. But the winds are the exact opposite. They are so flighty and there is a risk that they just don't remember what happened so long ago, like all of several minutes ago.
Well, we will go take a look at the scenes to start out with. Did they at least cordon them off?
There are guards everywhere, yes. Nobody's allowed to go there. Let me show you.
Where is
The
the body?
actual
Is it
temple.
like in a building?
Was that? Yeah. Let me show you the actual temple.
They
Listen to
said
the
they
winds
had.
only.
Hold on. Here we are. So that is what the temple itself looks like. And you come up the stairs. A huge skull. Just jutting out of the mountain.
Can we go take a look?
Yeah, go
I
ahead.
let you guys do your thing because Franz is brooding and there's nothing to hit, so she's not good right now.
So I will ask the other soldier that was with you. I'm assuming Michaelo de Groom was following Praanz at this point, Mikhail?
No, we told the
No, you
captain to go
dismissed
get
him?
sugar.
Okay. All right, cool.
Yeah.
So I will look at the nearest soldier and say, where's the scene of the murders?
Technically,
they will-
Promos dismissed him because he was afraid I was going to kill him.
Right.
Yeah. No, they will show you, absolutely. You know what? I think a particular ability known as thievery will be very useful here, because not only does it allow the person who's practicing thievery to, do sneaky stuff like breaking and entering and all that, but it also allows the person who does that to have knowledge about other people who do it. Crime scene investigation. Erald's secret competencies and skills
Yep.
suddenly are as useful. Let me describe things. Because this is probably the best crime scene investigator we have among us, except for, using the winds. You can definitely try to do that, Drake. I'm just saying it's going to be tricky. So I'm going to ask you to roll for that when you want to do it. Since you don't have you're not particularly pressed for time here, the difficulty won't go up because you want to do it fast. You can take your time and even reduce the difficulty somewhat if you want to, Drake. But let's go to the actual scene of the crime first, because your working will take a little moment. So, there we go. There we are. Let me find the right place. So, you are going to go up to the sleeping quarters, basically, that is up in the sort of forehead lobe of the skull. And it's a small chamber, which is... There's a simple bed, there's a wash basin, there's a silver pitcher for watered down wine. And, yeah, there's also, of course, an office right next to the sleeping chamber with a big white table and 6 high seats. This is like a council chamber, and one chair is slightly bigger than the others. And yeah, you will have access to basically all the rooms where the Pietro held court over his brothers and sisters in the faith. And why don't we have some rolls to find out what might happen here? There are bloodstains on the floor. There are bloodstains coming in through the actual, the stairway here, where they found the first 2 monks who were kind of guarding. The Pietro himself is lying on the table, wrapped in various cloth and awaiting burial by whomever is left of this order. And you will, in fact, meet whomever is left of the order. Specifically, King Karas. I think you met him before. He is one of the local monks, and he is the one attending, apparently the senior monk attending the Pietro's body. And he will bow his head as you come in. You come at a very sad moment.
Come to see if we can help with the investigation.
Of course.
Erald's gonna look
Yep, go ahead.
Erald's gonna look around the room in either the small chamber or in the office. Mikhail, is there any open windows to the outside?
Not really, no.
Okay. And is there any braziers or fire pits or fire sources in any of these rooms that are still currently active?
Yes.
Or might have been kept active during the whole time?
Yeah. There are definitely, like, for incense burners and for light purposes and all that too. If you want to roll a wind and spend a fate die for your thievery, Do you have any tools that you can use to do investigations with?
I've got my lock-picking set, but that doesn't really help very much. That's breaking in, not investigating. And beyond that, I've got extra clothes. But really, at the end of the day, that's kind of it. Yeah. No, Erald will basically use what he does know from thievery to try and see if he can make heads or tails of how he would deal with it.
Will Rubello maybe assist, and perhaps someone else too? Is the general with you here right now?
The general is definitely with them.
Okay.
She's just, like I said, Praanz is brooding and angry and not sure if she's any good right now. So she's just using herself as a way through the soldiers.
Right.
But if there's anything that she could actually do, then I will throw dice at it.
Yeah, I mean, this is an investigation. It could be a team effort. People are checking different corners and everything. And
Can I throw some command at it?
Not. You could command the soul. No, that doesn't really apply.
Promos can help by bullying the soldiers into keeping like a constant stream of coffee.
Promos can help,
that would help
because he's a smart fella. He can help by just looking in corners and everywhere,
Yeah.
like a regular Sherlock Holmes. So, let's see now.
You there, guy with the fancy hat, go get us coffee. Go get the mocha.
Who has the most dice? It's either going to be Rubello or Promos, really. Because Rubello has 3 and Promos has 3. So who wants to take the helm of this? Should Rubello do it? Maybe is Rubello the actual Sherlock of this bunch?
He can do weird like speak to dead stuff, right? We got a ton of dead people.
Some hints for that.
What was that, Drake?
I could speak to the winds and get hints from that. Like I could ask the winds, are there any unusual aromas?
Yeah,
here?
we'll get to that. We'll get to that. But right now it's the investigation. Oh, but that's true. Erald has to use the ability. So okay, I want Promos and Rubello both to roll your wind only. So 3 dice each. If you roll successes, each 6 adds to Erald's roll. So you want to roll as many 6s as possible. That is at least a 4. So that's 1 bonus die to Erald right there. Rubello, go ahead, roll your.
Oh, I know how
That's
Praanz
another
could
4.
help.
So that's 1 more die. And Praanz, you have 2 dice of wind. Did you want to
I was
try
gonna
as well?
say, yeah, could she use her? She could maybe use her swordplay to figure out cause of death.
I'd allow it. I'd allow it.
Like the kind of wound that it
you
made.
know
Yeah.
wounds from. You definitely know wounds from swords.
I know wounds from inflicting them.
Yes, so you can definitely use that. So I'm gonna burn 1 fate die for you, which allows you to roll 3 dice as well. That's another bonus die for Erald. Erald has 3 dice extra, so you now have 4 plus your fate die for. So that's 5 dice to figure out this mystery.
Alright, here we go.
A 6.
Too shabby. A 6. We have a 6, folks. We also have 4. Did you want to spend any of... Because everything you get here, successes will give you more chances to ask questions about things.
Yeah, I'm just looking at my experiences here.
Yeah.
The journey purging anti-creationist takes a deep toll, seeing his friend literally lifted off and dragged to the unknown.
Right,
and
go ahead.
Carlucci just literally...
It's not the first time someone has been disappeared. So, yeah, go ahead.
Yep.
Re-roll 3 dice, because you want the 4 and a 6, obviously. And it's a 5 and a 6. So now you have 2 6s and 2 6s. Excellent. So I'm going to give you 3 questions to ask me about this scene. Or I can just give you 3 facts if you want me to.
I think the facts, unless there's specific questions that, anybody wants to ask a specific question, we can do that. Otherwise, yeah, I'll just do the facts.
Just take the facts, I think.
Okay. One interesting piece of fact. You will find on the desk of the Pietro Petralba, first of all, signs that documents are missing. Like there's ink bottle and the actual ink for the for the quill to sit in. There's marks that there was a document there, judging by the spills, but the documents are gone. Next to the ink bottle is a small ceramic striped frog.
Wait, what? A frog? As
Yeah.
in, like, the assassination frogs? From, like... Okay.
That's too
Do
fast.
you show this to Praanz?
No, I'm gonna wait.
Okay.
The third
Oh.
part, and I'm gonna say that Praanz probably figures this one out because you're looking over the Piotr. Like, how did the Piotr die?
Yeah, I'm looking for the cause of death.
Yeah, it's the cause of death is quite clear when you look at the body. He was stabbed in the gut by a knife, but he shouldn't have died from that stab. It's not deep enough to kill him. Though the black veins climbing up his body from the wound makes it exceedingly clear that an extraordinarily potent poison, the likes of which, I mean, the rarity of these yeah, he died from that poison. It must have been a very painful death, and those poisons are like super rare. It's not this is not cyanide we're talking about. This is not rat poison that you could find in a in any barn house. This is something that a highly specialized assassin would have developed with very advanced methods.
Hey, Erald, have you ever seen anything like this before? Like, it's clearly poison, but, like, I don't know if I've ever seen this kind of poison before.
The necrosis from it, just looking at the wounds, yeah, no, it's something else. And then at that point, I hint over towards the small frog sitting on the desk and say, does that look familiar?
That looks familiar. Didn't a drunken monk try to give you one of those?
Not to me, to Malik.
Malik.
Now, with that said,
It
between
wasn't a
you and
drunken
I,
monk, it was a drunken noble.
drunken noble, that was pretending to be drunk.
Dressed as
Yes.
a drunken noble, yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, it was a drunken noble who Praanz recognized with drunken monk style fighting.
Yeah.
Is it possible? Hear me out for a moment here. My understanding of this whole frog situation, from what I recall, these are a group of assassins specifically designed to take out people, etc., and hitmen, for lack of better terms. The
Somebody didn't like the...
Petro. But if I was them, and let's just put it this way for a moment, wouldn't this be a really fucking convenient item to go ahead and drop on this desk to make it look as if they've actually done this? And they actually went ahead and did the assassination themselves and led us down this fucking rabbit hole? Because personally, as Erald, this very much seems something that they would go ahead and do. I've literally seen you get the shit kicked out of you at another arrangement. Literally at a wedding. I would not put it past them for them to basically decide to also, instead of just pissing off the Empire, also piss off this, like, Black Hand Assassination Association, and... yeah.
I agree. They are the dumbest smart people I've ever met.
Either way, so I don't know how to get in contact with these guys, because they're literally meant to be, like, shadow...
One of them's a necromancer.
No, I meant back to our dear
Oh, the froggy people?
froggy people, yes.
I'll put the name, because Praanz would definitely know about the name.
Can Praanz get in touch with them through the Digitalonga?
Maybe, if they want to get contacted. Yeah.
Might have some contacts through the Digitalonga that can get them.
I'll tell you this: the Digitaloga would not be beyond contracting them for a hit.
Right, Praanz may have used them at some point.
Yeah.
Well,
or
not
if
Praanz personally,
didn't, then
but
Goba da
Gomba.
Grummi certainly did. Like,
Yeah.
It's they are for hire, so they work for the rebels, work
So
for the
Lavina
Trakorians.
would definitely have their number, so to speak.
Yeah.
So
If I can get a message to the fancy man Allesella, he might be able to pull some strings there. I think he's been butting heads with Goba for a while.
either way,
Might
I
just take
think
time.
Yeah, Promos, I think either way, what we need to do here is to find out, was this actually them? And then if it was them, who paid for it?
This
If it-
poison this man's got, it's pricey, yeah.
Yeah.
It's unique.
So how badly I don't know this dead man. How badly would he be needed dead that you would waste the expensive poison, eh?
So, to put it politely, this was the head of the Order of the Monks here, obviously. But
So he's got a big hat.
right,
He does. And the
his
prophecy that he interpreted has kind of rocked the governments a little bit right now, one way or the other.
basically these monks literally sit on this hill until the mountain talks to them. They wrote down the information that the mountain told them, which was this Vox Rancina.
All that and all right.
Yeah, and
I don't know much about that. I do know men that kill. Not like soldiers, just rough men, hard men.
Yeah.
then this would be a perfect opportunity for those rough and hard men to kill somebody that may not necessarily agree with them and have the same thoughts and make it look like a bad accident.
So my question is, if they put the money down for this assassination, let's assume one of their benefactors, however, whatever, why did they run?
Or did they? You would leave a man behind to make sure that it took, yeah?
You would
You'd come
think.
to see who went poking. And
Or-
if given a chance, they've tried to kill you once, General High Potentate.
Yes.
They're going to try and do so again.
One would think.
We got a tent full of
Although-
nobles over there, yeah?
Yeah. Let's go talk to some fucking nobles. I need some heads to bash around.
That's not going to be hard.
So, really quickly before we leave here, I'll look over at Barú Rubello and state, do you want to talk to the room? As I look
Yeah,
over
I
towards the
wouldn't mind.
fire, and I know that you can talk
I
to the
might be
wind.
able to ascertain how many people were involved.
That's what I was thinking. Because this is mundane investigation. Let's push just the magical here.
Ah,
Like I said, whatever wiggity shit you all can do. All I got is beating heads in.
all right. We are going to do some wind whispering, of course. Normally, you do that to find out what is happening right now close by, because winds are nothing if not right now in the moment. The whole what happened before, hard for them. So, now, what kind of weather do we have right now? We do have a light breeze. So it's not completely still. That's good for you. So difficulty is 2. I'm going to increase it to a 3 because you want to talk about things that happened in the past. And that leads us to... You have your 3 wind, and you will need to spend 1 fate die for the work. Let's see if you can increase your pool further by...
Can he get any extra dice from having knowledge of what we just got from the mundane investigation to kind of guide the questions?
Yeah, that might work, yeah. Let's see now. I'm also thinking about collaborations. Here we go. You can collaborate and get help from others, regardless of if the assistants are spellcasters or not. Working that facilitate casting, like chalking up a pentagram, moving incense in patterns, singing, and so on, takes some time to prepare. So it would take a full scene, but it will give you extra dice. So if you want to do a collaboration, I can give you an extra die per person who are collaborating.
Provost
don't
would be
see why
happy to
not.
help in that.
Sure.
All right, so we're gonna take a full. This is gonna be like a full ritual where you have incense and you call on the winds and you walk in the right pattern. What would that look like when you're, how do you walk to call on the north wind, and how do you walk to call on the earth, the south wind, and so on?
It would likely just be a lot of arm movements, up and down, side to side. Similar to that, yeah. Get a feel for the winds. Let them know you're trying to contact them.
Some winds are more fickle than others, after all. So why don't we have you roll 7 dice in total? That is a lot of fives. 1, 2, 3. That's 4 successes. No 6. If you want to check off one of your experiences to re-roll the 2 and the 3, for example, possibly even the 4, to get a 6, that way you wouldn't get any mishaps, like it's hard working, so you will take a point of misery in something, for example.
Also, checking off your experiences is how you level.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
You always want to check off your experience.
You always win.
Yeah, I'll roll 3 and check off an experience.
All right, let's do it.
Oop,
You've been harassed by wind spirits before, and you know how to deal with them.
Another 5.
They are fickle today. It's probably because it's a light breeze. They're lazy. This is how as lazy as winds can become. They just, oh man, we were just hanging out here and taking it easy and feeling the smells from the fleshy ones. They're drifting around, some of them are a bit static. We've been in this skull for so long. Since you didn't get any 6s, you will get a point of... Well, let's go over magical mishaps. What do you want to have? Magic mishaps. So... No, you didn't roll below the difficulty. You didn't lose a conflict roll, so that's not the problem. But... At a partial success, you also have a mishap, so it can backfire and affect you instead of the target. That's not interesting. Mental exertion gives you exhaustion equal to the power level, which is 1. You might take damage equals to the power level, which is also 1. Gain of the glimpse of the world between worlds and gain 1 point of fear. Or lose your faith in your own abilities and gain a point of doubt.
It went off, but I think the world between worlds would be interesting because you are kind of trying to contact the dead-ish.
You scratched the wrong side of the veil.
Did you?
Yeah, sure, I'll gain a fear.
Okay, a point of fear. As you're working this, you see for the briefest moment... What would you see? The shade of someone who is trying to approach you, but then grabbed from behind and disappears.
Terralisi's still trying to give her a report.
All right.
Cursed.
But it didn't work because something grabbed her. Yeah, maybe it actually looked a bit like Terralisi. She was like reaching out to you and then just torn away from you.
Which makes sense, because she had Woogity of her own.
She had Woogity of her own. So I'm gonna allow you a last because you succeeded in doing it. The wind will answer your question, but only one question because you didn't have the 6s there.
I'll ask how many assailants there were.
That's a fancy word for a wind. I think this is where the whole, exertion, you're trying to explain that word assailant. What's an assailant, man? Is that like a sail? There are no sails in here. This is not, the answer you get, but you'll have to keep the conversation going. There's no sails in here, man.
There were people here that were not normally the locals. How many of those were there?
Oh, coming and going all day. It's been exhausting to watch the two legs walk through here. You'll have to be even more precise. You'll get an answer to your question. I'm just, let's narrow it down.
Can we, as a group, help provide questions?
I guess, yeah. I mean, you can't hear the wind. Only he can, but...
Right. You said this guy had tattoos, right, Praanz?
Yeah, at least one or two of them had full tattoos.
On their arms.
Oh yeah,
Uh,
one was definitely cargo mission.
Promo will kind of like kind of quick sketch out the kind of Trinismiran tattoos that those people on the other side of the rock.
Yep.
His tattoos are completely different. Right? Promos's tattoos are good tattoos, not like their crap ones.
Right,
Man,
right.
Promos and Praanz have worked together. You're good.
Yeah. But he's gonna like sketch out those tattoos and be like, you need to find a striped man.
I'll ask the spirits then. Did they
How-
see any human or person with striped tattoos? Striped art on their body.
During the death
Right.
of the Piazza.
So during the death of the Pietro Petralba, that's the
Right.
key. Okay. Excellent addition to the question. Otherwise, it's like, is it? Oh yes, they had one of them had a stripe on the inside of that fleshy place where they put the food.
That's
You
the
know, it's
necromancer,
weird.
isn't it?
These flesh creatures, they need to put things into their mouth to keep walking. And right in that place for the chunky bits go in, there was a line. Yeah, I remember it because I kind of traveled there and I went in through the nostrils and out through the mouth and tumbled around in the lungs for a moment just to check out what was hanging. Very interesting there. Yeah, it was like very slow, the thump, you know? Yeah, it was kind of cool.
Well, I guess that was the question.
Yep, and that was the answer. So, something tattooed like stripes on the inside of the lip.
Question, Mikel. I was up close and personal with the necromancer when I was being healed.
Yep.
Can I remember anything, or was I too unconscious?
You were you were gone from this world. Your spirit
Okay.
had a walkabout for several seconds.
That's fair.
But others were close by. Wasn't Erald there?
I was at the wedding. I seen her get the shit kicked out of her. I talked to a couple people there. Yeah, so Erald's basically trying to put two and two together if it's Mr. Arm Tattoos or if
Unfortunately, your
it's...
wind is terrible.
Oh, trust me, I know.
Thinking it's the Wigmaker's apprentice.
Which is Mr. Arm Tattoos. Yes.
He's their necromancer.
Yes.
Why don't you roll your only wind? Maybe you will get a success. If you get a 6,
Alright.
then...
Can Praanz assist by trying
Nope.
to help with the memory?
Oh, yeah,
fine.
absolutely. You can
Oh.
try. Sorry, okay. You might get extra dice here, so why don't you roll your wind? I don't really see that you have anything that would otherwise help. Oh, look at that. That's 2 dice to help our friend Erald.
Praanz clearly remembers something maybe from earlier in the wedding.
Yep.
So I'm rolling one
Two-
here or two?
2 more.
Because I already
2
rolled
more.
one. Okay.
Yeah. Ooh, that's a 6. I mean, now we're talking a tattoo on the inside of the lip, which is really hard to see.
Yep.
You can't remember him having something like that, no. It nudges your mind about something, though. Exactly what, you can't really tell.
Erald will now take a moment and look over at the nearby flames. As I can also talk to stuff.
Yes, you can.
And I don't have the wind for it, but I got the fate dice.
They said the cargo
but this
mission
isn't
was with them
wind.
too.
You're doing pyromancy. That keys to fire, my friend.
Oh,
Always.
excellent.
That's
so,
why you took it.
yes, I am going to...
What are we doing? You're
Invoke-
speaking to the flames, right?
I'm speaking to the flames and hoping that that flame's been burning since.
Speak to flames and more eager to destroy things than stay. You can speak to these volatile spirits. A campfire can tell you what happened in the place before, for example. Difficulty is 2. Yeah. So you can ask one question plus one for every 6.
All right. Well, so I'm going to. So it's four dice, 3 for the fire and 1 for the fate dice.
Unless you want to make it a ritual, like you could just keep working on your rituals for another bunch of hours, like a full scene, and the others are helping you again.
We've got time.
Yeah,
right.
At this
In
point,
which case you
this
get
is the investigation, right?
3 extra dice from the others.
This is literally what we showed up.
So you will have 3 for your fire, another 3 from the others. That's 6, plus 1 for your pyromancy. So that is 7 dice. That is a 6.
It's a 6.
A 6. Did you want to draw upon a memory?
Yep, I once tamed a furious animal with its kindness. I'm really politely asking these flames to work in our favor.
Yes.
Here,
Yeah,
these flames are very furious and
angry
angry.
spirit. Why are you bothering us? Get away from here. Get away. I'll burn you. I'll burn you.
Yep. So I'm gonna re-roll all the 2s.
2, 3. Yeah, you can re-roll a couple of 4s too. Like the difficulty is a 2, and you have that with a 5 and the 6. Everything else can be re-rolled. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 dice to re-roll.
All right, let's just do the whole thing.
No more 6s at all, unfortunately. You tried.
Well, we can ask
2
one more
questions.
question, I think.
2 questions.
2? Okay.
Yes. You dare speak to us? What does a ritual like this look like?
You basically see Erald kind of almost gain a fascination of the flame, kind of like it's awful to describe it this way, but like if you get absolutely drunk off your derriere and looking at a fire pit and you're basically just super hyper focused, it's almost that. And then Erald starts to speak.
Yep, like you see the faces in like the coals that look like faces, and they can actually.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of the old flu net from Harry Potter, where basically like the face would appear in the fire. And anyways, yeah.
And the 3 others are standing in like a triangle around, so you make like a 4 corners and whatnot.
Yep.
Ask him about the fucker with the hammer.
That's where I was going. Did anyone enter this room when the head of this monk order, and I point over towards the dead body, very tall, large hammer, was he in this room?
When the monk died.
When the monk died. Actually, fuck it, was he in this room?
But here's the thing. Just because we have 2 people with win 3 will be a very nice game master. You have just noted that the monk died by a knife wound to the gut that was poisoned, so the monk would have died after whomever did the stabbing left. It's entirely possible that the monk died alone. Hypothetically. Or that someone else was in the room, like another monk of the Ranzi order was with Pietro Petralba when he expired.
When the monk was stabbed.
You can focus on the attack.
Yeah.
So you're just basically describing Sir Artigue and asking if he was in the room when...
In the room
when the monk was stabbed.
Monk was stabbed.
No, he was... No hammers, no hammers. It was a dagger, I tell ya. A dagger, can't you tell the difference?
Description of the stripy man?
You know what? At this point,
No, they did it, the fuckers.
yeah, it's pointing to it. It's pointing to it, Praanz, but I don't know. Now I'm gonna like.
Erald, you're talking to Flame right now, eh?
Yeah. The wind didn't work, so now we're working on the flames.
Can you haggle with it?
What do you mean? What am I? Haggling?
I don't know how none of this works. I don't believe in no gods. Can you haggle with it?
Let's say I can.
Tell it if it tells us how to find them, that we'll burn down their entire fucking house. They killed our friend.
Fuck it. I'll burn down their entire fucking village. Their whole fucking pretend empire. I will burn it to the goddamn ground.
Yeah, Promise is kind of like he's gonna poke his harpoon into the fire and like stir up the coals and be like, "You spicy little bastards! You give us what we want. You tell us where the folks went."
Yeah.
That's right. Promos and Terralisi were just as close.
Yeah.
Promos doesn't have a lot of friends, and he can't allow himself to like mourn properly while there are people around and while these people aren't dead. So he is.
You need to kill the fuckers. Praanz is pretty much the same way. There's not enough booze for her to scream it out yet.
And
Yeah.
Erald's gonna ask for a description of the person that did the stabbing.
All right.
The best way that this fire flame can describe.
All right. Oh, it was a weird fella, I tell you, weird fella. Couldn't see much. No. Had some kind of hood and a scarf across the face. Came in there with a knife. Yeah. But you know what was really weird, huh? It was really weird. The eyes, you see, they went this way and that way all at the same time. Never seen a fleshy one do that before. No, haven't. No, sorry. And then the
So the fleshy one's eyes went in different directions? They didn't... they
Yeah,
weren't-
sure, absolutely. Yeah. Remember that. Very well. Yep, they sure did. Yep. Then they
I
left.
feel like I've
some-
seen that before.
Then they left some idiot behind. They were talking to, looked into his eyes, made him stay behind, and then they left with some stuff from the desk. They took like papers, yummy papers. I love papers. They so yummy. Yeah, they tasty paper. I didn't get the papers. I was very sad. They took them. They ran away, and then this other fleshy guy with metal on him. He came in and he stabbed the guy who was left behind. Yeah.
Other fleshy guy with metal on stabbed another guy?
Yeah.
Who is the... I point to that body. That was the one that was first stabbed. Who is the second person? Okay. Alright, so we were looking for another stab victim that would have been in here too.
Probably another one of the monks. There was 3.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and then there was 2 that was killed that was guarding the door on the staircase. So this was the third one that found it. Alright. So we possibly still have fucking Articue here, because big metal armored guy. He just wasn't freaking using his hammer.
No, yeah.
And
Actually. Oh no, we've already asked our question.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
you've
the
asked
2
the
questions.
question.
Yeah,
I can't get the description of the armor.
Yeah.
He had special armor.
Yeah.
But I'll have a wind roll from everybody to draw some clue. I can give you, some of you have more wind than others and might get help from that. Okay, there we go. Oh, nice, a 6 and a 5. I mean, Rubello is. And then we have Promos, who is clearly Sherlock Holmes aspiring as well. Erald is, however, not so much.
He's a little tired from talking to the fire.
It's
Must
like
be.
the first time
Very
that he's had to
intense.
since college.
Yeah,
You could say he's
must be.
burnt out.
Okay, so if we account for everything here, let's go over pedagogically. So you had the Captain Maglos said that at some time around 2 a.m. in the night, the alarm went, there was screams, he went up there. This is his testimonial now. And he found a murderer with a knife in the hand and he killed him. And of course, Captain Maglos at the time was wearing armor because he was on patrol.
Okay, so he's killing who he thought the murderer was.
Yeah. But according to the fire, that guy was just a patsy, apparently.
He was spelled to just stay there and be killed.
Yeah.
By the guys with the eyes looking in different directions
Yeah.
and hooded figure.
Okay.
Great.
So I
What's
need
the
to
full
see
code?
the body of the patsy.
Yeah, then you have to talk to Captain Maglos again.
Yeah.
Probably found that sugar by now.
Probably,
All right, let's
yeah.
go have a discussion with my idiot captain.
I mean, it's time for well after lunch anyway, because you've been spending time up there exploring and, investigating the place.
Okay.
Kinkaros is saying that, I thank you for caring so much for the Pietro Pechalba.
Yes, of course.
His loss means, unfortunately, that our order has come to an end. There is not much left for me or the others sworn to Ranz to do here. We shall stay as long as you wish, General.
Of course.
And make
I will
sure that no one can disturb the mountain.
Appreciated. I will send word to our benefactors, and particularly the ducal family of Gomba. I believe one of the brothers resides here.
Yes.
And provisions will be made.
Most kind.
And then, yeah, we go off to talk to the captain.
For sure. Yeah, the captain will have mocha ready for you. It's late afternoon now, just below freezing, and still a light breeze from the lake coming up on the mountain. And yeah, the captain will be very nervous, just like before, and invite you in and sit down. What can I do for you, General?
We need food brought, and then we need to see the body of the man you stabbed.
Of course, he orders things about. The man I stabbed... Oh, I thought I explained that earlier. I'm terribly sorry. So this is what happened. I went up, of course, when the alarm went, and I arrived up in the skull and found the assassin standing over the body of the Pietro Pichalba, mortally wounded, and I killed him, of course, immediately.
Mm-hmm. What you killed was a spelled patsy.
Oh.
Continue.
Oh, well. I was not the only one who heard the alarm. I sent for other soldiers came up. I sent them down to lock down this entire village, make sure that nobody could access the docks, nobody gets away, right? That was my first concern. Now, not too long afterwards, some of the other guests came up here. Now, the person I killed was one of the guests. That much I'm sure of. We had him in the rolls. It's kind of curious. It must have been stricken from that particular page of the guest log is gone. I'm very curious. But at least some of the guests who came up, and they were close by. They were lodging right next to the skull. And they were quickly here. And they discussed a lot amongst themselves what they wanted to do, how they wanted to do things. I was out and giving some orders by the time I got back. Unfortunately, the Pietro had expired. He was poisoned. There was nothing anybody could do. And they were together with a Ranzian monk, actually, this group, who was taking care of the last moment of the Pietro. And then they said that they were going to take the body of the murderer with them. And I protested intensely, of course, because that is material evidence in our very Trakorian investigation. And when I did so, suddenly this fellow, a very tattooed man, looks much like a cargo mission when I think about it. Not only him, there was a woman cargo mission. I mentioned that before, the Princess Deidre, she was there. And he put his hands together and I couldn't move. It was the strangest things. And they just took the body of the murderer and walked away, all of them. There were, let's see now, 5 or 6 of them altogether. Let's see now, there was the fellow with a hammer, some outdoors, a woman with a bow, very dirty. There was the tattooed cargo mission who did that spell to me, another tattooed cargo mission, the lady Deidre herself, and her companion, the large fellow from Sublak, and one of the monks. Yeah, one of the monks went with too. Yeah. Off the top.
Which monk? Specifically, which monk?
You would have to ask one of the monks about the name of that monk, because I can't keep track.
Kinkaris might know.
Yeah.
He's the only... senior left
Promos
now.
will make the run
But they-
over to Kinkaros so that he can take the 8 years to tell us the name of the monks here.
Yes, but it's they took the body of the man I slew. Yes. So we are missing one body here, unfortunately. One of the dead bodies.
They took their patsy with them.
Potentially. Yeah, I agree completely. There are 2 dead monks who were standing guard at the... They were already dead when I got there. There is, unfortunately, the Lady Terlisi. There is the Pietro Petralba. All those bodies are accounted for, but the murderer that I slew is not here.
So we're missing the cover-up.
We're missing the cover-up. They took the cover-up with them.
Which then makes them just exactly, they did it all.
They did
Fuckers. So
100% they did it.
that exactly answers the question of why they were not seen in the room, because they were quote unquote trying to
Patsy the fuck out of it.
Yeah.
Okay. So
they got caught by your captain here halfway through the halfway through their alibi.
Mm-hmm.
And then got caught by your captain.
Mm-hmm.
And basically then it was like hand wavy and walked away.
I need the name of the monk.
Yeah, King Karos will provide that. I'm not going to delay that too much. The name of the monk was Bodonius.
Okay. Do we know anything about the monk?
Only that he was a deeply faithful member of the order. He was, in fact, one of the closest associates of the Pietro Petralba. His quarter were right next door, and he was like the secretary of the Pietro, almost. Yeah.
Is it possible he was spelled?
It could be. Yeah, I did not sense any miracle working at the time. Well, there was.
Oh, it
one
would not be
discour-
miracle working. It would be
Uh,
highly anti-creationist.
highly anti-creationist. You know, there was I had a sense of something anti-creationist going on during the evenings before this unfortunate incident happening. It came from the quarters of, I'm afraid to say, Lady Terlisi.
Oh, that's not surprising.
But the whole skull was warded, of course, against intrusions of heretics and such like.
Mm-hmm. Okay. I look at my captain. Get the fucking paperwork started for those wanted posters, please.
Yes, sir. Yes, ma'am. Immediately.
Peaceful.
Do we have a sketch artist? A sketch artist, come here, a sketch artist. Do we have
I'm sure you
descriptions
can
of these
find
people?
somebody.
So, stupid question. Providing a sketch to somebody else, is that wind?
Yes.
Because I've seen them all.
Yep.
And really up close.
Yep.
Those prawns.
So is Praanz. You can help each other. Has Promo seen them?
I think Promos has only heard stories about Artigue,
Right.
but has not seen anybody else. But he has exhibited that he's a decent sketch artist with the tattoos, so who knows? He can throw it at the wall and see what sticks.
So maybe
Yeah,
he
but
can
this is
draw
the
it
wind
while
check
we
about
describe it.
How to,
Yeah.
get the I mean, the captain will ask others, like interview other people about these particular suspects. And of course, when you ask around in the camp, because it's not like they weren't on
Briar's
Marjorie,
there
right?
too.
So
Yeah.
the nobles will probably not remember them too well. They might have been on different ships and whatnot. But some
Briar
folks
would.
will remember some of them.
Yeah, Briarwood.
Yeah, Briar will remember them very well if you ask him. Yes,
Yep.
he has some wind. In
So
fact, all of
between
it.
the three of us, and then getting Promos to draw it.
All right. I mean, drawing, that's artistry in some kind of fashion, isn't it?
Yeah,
Let's see now.
Promos is not an artist.
No.
Okay.
When using to manipulate, it's water. When you're using it, you choose. Spellbind. I'm not so sure. It could be, because it's also a little bit of hand manipulation, so it could be fire too. You could argue for fire. So maybe it should be Erald who does the actual drawing, because you have a very steady hand, don't you?
Mm-hmm. For an old man. Yep.
Yep.
And
So
so-
everybody else is trying to help you to remember how they look like, and that is going to be. There's lots of memory rolls this time, isn't it?
Can I use my Bonzi Khan to remember details?
Where she fought.
You know what? I'm going to allow you to spend a fate die for that purpose. It's all about
That
being
gives me
calm
3.
and rooted.
Yeah.
So if you want to add a fate die to your wind, I just
Yeah.
like the sort of innovative thinking you've got going there. So that gives you 3 dice. That's
Hey,
a
look at
2 die
that.
advantage that you give over to Erald. How about Briar? He will roll his straight 3 dice.
We'll even possibly tell Briar that he can help out, and in exchange, we might give him access to the mountain, since the mountain doesn't matter anymore.
He just gave you 2 more dice because he remembers
Yeah.
everything of these people. He has spent. Oh, those nice people. Yes, they are so.
Yes, those nice people. Prawn says through gritted teeth.
We'll
They
get
have
the
they have
interview
shown me so
separate.
many things on Marjura. You understand? The inside of a tomb, the mountain range leading up to the Iron Tower. The Iron Tower itself, the crater was magnificent. They were doing a lot of brutal things, fighting and whatnot. Even with the Shagolites, which I don't understand because the Shagolites were so intellectual, academics. I do not understand how anyone could do violence to them, but they did. But
You have an odd idea of what nice is, don't you?
they were perfect gentlemen to me.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
It's all about the history books.
Anyway, that's 2 more dice for you, and Promos haven't heard about them, or haven't seen them, so he can't help with that. But 4 dice should help you a bit, Erald, shouldn't it?
Yep, more than enough.
Unfortunately, you do not have any ability to help you with this, so it's going to be 3 plus 4 is 7.
Okay. Away we go.
Yes, 2
Is
6s.
Not too shabby at all. 2 6s. How about that? And 3 6s. That's 5 successes of 7 dice. You have made amazingly accurate likenesses of these. And why don't we put up on Erald adventure likenesses in your equipment?
I was just going to say, is there a way that I can actually push that even further in relation to my last experience?
What is your last experience?
He's fought many younglings during his years at the Golden Rug, and in this case, these are just considered freaking younglings that aren't listening to their elders.
That's an interesting interpretation of the experience, isn't it? When I think of I thought that was something more martial. But if you want to turn it into, like, just a power contest, okay, I'll give it. Yeah, I'm alright with that. If you want to spend it.
Yep, it's just for the 2, for the 3, and the 1.
Yep. And
that is worth every single one of that experience.
Boom.
So these are perfect likenesses.
Pretty close. Close.
Yes. So you now
So-
have perfect likenesses of adventurers, and where these posters are up, the local authorities will get, help to identify these guys. Like, the reputation will go up by a lot if these
So
posters
I
go
look
up.
at my captain and I say, send these back to the powers that be. I want them everywhere. I want the heat cranked to 11 and I want them found.
Yes, General. Yes, General. Immediately.
This crew is public enemy number 1.
Yes, General.
I don't know how much that'll raise their reputation, but
So, I'll also take a moment that once
All of
if,
Paratorna will be just plastered with these.
yeah.
if Erald's able to get a relatively same copy or a duplicate or make a duplicate or whatever you want to call it, he would send those also over to Sembersend.
So the Inquisition's going to make them
And the
number 1 and
Inquisition
2.
is officially declaring them all anti-creationist across the board and hunt on sight by all fire tongues.
Oh my god! Oh my
and
god.
this is unofficially
The Dinkatalonga and the Inquisition coming together.
Oh dear.
Yep.
That will be interesting.
Because at this point, they've literally murdered
Monks.
creationist monks.
Yep. They would have. Yep, they would have.
They've
that-
killed off the head of an order of creationist monks.
Yeah, that's basically why I'm like, okay, I've seen you use magic. I've seen you do anti-creationist things. Now you've literally killed the head of an order and disbanded the order pretty much.
Mhm.
And you're
And-
just causing shit for the last couple bits. So now it's time to call it.
Also, I'm still 100% convinced, as Praanz is 100% convinced that The Walking Dead is entirely 100% their fault.
Briar freaking told me the exact same thing. He's got it in his little book. I thought we've shared this with you already, Praanz.
I don't think you have.
I don't think, no, we didn't.
Oh gosh, okay. Briar, you and Praanz need to have a chat at some point, because you really need to tell her your full story that you told me back in Trakoria about your journeys with these fellows.
Oh, yes. Very interesting. They were hired by us, of course, to help the archaeological expedition, the one that I led, you know. And as we arrived on Marjura nearly 2 years ago now, my, how time flies. We disembarked at Arnhem, like so many others, and Erald was there as well. It was a most pleasurable journey with such a distinguished man of the cloth. Yes, very nice. And though we couldn't tarry too long in Arnhem, we had to get on with our scholarly work. And so we did. Now, we first traveled up to, because the poor druid Perima, I don't know if you have met her, but Erald certainly did. She was on the same ship. And apparently, most of her druid friends had disappeared. She expected them to meet her in Arnhem, you see, but they didn't. So she was afraid, and she asked if we might escort her. And of course, being ever the gentleman, I decided on the spot that we should. So we traveled with her and all our expedition materials all the way up to the actual Monda temple. I don't know if you yes?
Were the druids alive when you got to the temple?
Oh, no, not at all. No. They had all been butchered. Apparently by the Shagalites, which is so strange because they were so intellectual. I'm sure it must have been rogues or bandits or something else. But there was a Walking Dead there. There were Walking Dead there. I mostly hid behind the little stone wall, you understand, during that particular little... And there was some strange creature jumping out of the window. It was horrific. It had huge bat-like wings, chicken feet, a mouth almost like a crab's.
Fucking cursed thing, and you see Erald basically kind
Praanz
of walk
kind of
away
puts
from
her
the
hand
table.
on him.
And crab-like legs across his chest, and a person in a robe. I think it might have been a Shagalite. I maybe they had a rogue faction in them. In the group, I don't know, but he jumped on top of this thing and flew away, even as Drida and Sir Artigue and Sifanu and the others dealt with the Walking Dead, which they did. They dispatched them quite quickly. So, and when that was all said and done, well, it took a while. Perima was beside herself of grief, of course, because of all the dead druids. They did some investigations there. We found the druid's crypt, you see, down below the temple itself. And apparently there were some treasures below there, so which Perima needed for her quest. Apparently she was the prophesized last druid, she said, and she was prophesied somehow to bring down a great evil, which she interpreted as the Shagalites, you see. Now, many things happened at that temple, I can add. Sifanu was very kind. He's a doctor, you know. And he helped out with the burials so that it was all properly done. They were swept, they were mummified as per their tradition as quickly as we could do it. We didn't have much time. But we also managed, and this is my little contribution, I found inscriptions of how to summon the giants. So we could use the mammoth horn and summon the giants. That's what Sir Artigue did. He blew the horn. He doesn't blow anyone else's horn, if you take my meaning. Yes. Anyway, he blew his own horn, and there was a giant mammoth horn that was carved into an actual piece of instrument. And the next day, we had so many guests at that temple. So many guests First, it was the group of wolfkin in white berets that
Those
came
were the
up
ones you
to
said
arrest all of
Yep.
us because of a complete misunderstanding. They thought we were smugglers. Can you believe it? Who would have told them such a thing? But Nefria, very good with the words and putting her words correctly, explained to these quite confused reavers that they were in fact not at all smugglers, but the real
I knew I
enemy
should have
were-
gone with the fucking wolfkin. I could have fucking had them before the Restless Dead started.
Anyway,
Continue, brother.
yes, the real enemy was the Shagulites. That's what she said. Yes. So they joined us for this because, of course, they wanted to hunt these terrible enemies. A little bit later, the Kvurs arrived. Very strange people, native to Marjura. They had been there since before the Marjurans themselves came. Very interesting people. They live up on the glacier. They are the ones who procure the Carson fat for the locals. And very hospitable. They declared us to be their heroes, their prophesized heroes, and made a ritual and everything in our honor. It was most glorious. And then the giant arrived. And apparently the giants had some kind of an accord with the druids. He called them the Red Robes. And so he joined he was going to join the expedition too, but he had to call on his grandson first. So on. So anyway, at all long lost, the Kvors had described apparently to my expedition that in fact their prophecy roles as saviors, they would have to go to a sacred place and procure certain weapons, powerful weapons that would be used against the Shagulites. And so they did just that. We all traveled west, and lo and behold, it was in fact the very site we were intending to excavate. How about that? Such good fortune. So we prepared our excavations there. The crew wouldn't go near the place. It's a taboo for them. But we got some kind of key to this place. Our guide, Shalaban Addertongue, had this little piece that we could use to unlock the tomb itself. Very interesting. And then we entered the tomb. And in there, well, I was not the first to enter, I will admit. I'm a frail fellow compared to the sturdy folks of like Gistaki and Sir Artigue who went ahead. There was a bit of a cave-in. It was not entirely stable in there. But apparently they found some treasures and found some weapons, much like the prophecy said, and some kind of strange glowy earth-flowing thing that I never quite understood. It was red and thick and looked kind of like blood, but it wasn't blood. It was Sir Artigue who tried to explain it, and I didn't quite understand all of it. But at the end of the day, something happened there, and I do remember that Eldrida blamed this entirely on Sifanu, that made the dead king and his guards wake up. And so we had to fight and get away from there, unfortunately, yes. We never did do any more excavation there, I'm afraid. We headed straight up to the Iron Tower, yes. And that is where the final confrontation took place, if you will, yes. We met the giants there, and they helped us very kindly. There were a lot of blue-skinned Orgine barbarians working for the Shagulites, apparently, but the giants made short work of them. We crossed over the volcanic crust to get to the Iron Tower itself and entered it. And in there, everything got a bit confusing. The expedition went deeper into the tower itself. And unfortunately, as I was waiting to enter, one of these flying creatures grabbed me and flew me away to the Shagulites. And also the giants died, I'm afraid. Yes.
Thank you for your information.
I was not at all sure what was going to happen. You see, I was taken together with other prisoners to the tomb of the founder of the Shagulite movement, apparently. Or someone important that was buried there. But before we could enter the tomb, Sir Artigue and Nefria and Eldrida and the others turned up again. And they destroyed the rest of the Shagulites in a very quick and violent attack. Most of those weird flying demons as well, as I recall it.
One set of fuckers who probably could have stopped the Restless Dead. Thank you for your information.
Oh, but it wasn't over there. You see, we entered the tomb. And we met someone called Shagul in there. She was apparently the founder of the Shagulites. And she was talking a lot about all sorts of interesting events and reasons for... She held a quite long speech about why she had done all these things. And she took the sword of the undead king, the Restless King, and apparently she was going to give it to the Restless King. And at that point, I do believe that Eldrida and Sir Artu got very angry and they killed her.
Yep.
That is the end of the story, I think. I mean, the rest was us traveling together over the ice to get to Clustanova, of course.
So the disturbance, the theft that the undead king was talking about was his sword. Do they still have that sword?
No, that sword probably is with the undead king by now. But they have other swords. I saw at least, two other swords. Yes, one is completely black and one is silver with very beautiful gems. And a dagger, very interesting dagger. It talks.
Does it poison?
Not that I know of. It's a bronze blade and it talks when you draw it from the scabbard.
I was just gonna say, when you say it talks, does it talk to its wielder, or does it like literally scream in a barbarian fashion as it's being stabbed into its victims?
No, it's a perfect gentleman. A scholar, in fact. Lore master, I would say. A bit confused, though.
Okay, Briar, you forgot to tell me about that last time we were talking.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yes, I think...
that's fair.
Well, I mean, they have these items. There was a mirror, too. Yes. Don't know much about that one.
Erald, please excuse me. I need to leave before I hurt your friend. And Praanz looks like she's very much restraining herself.
Have they've given us the slip? Have they, Praanz?
I believe they have, yes. I believe they spelled every guard on their fucking way out.
You need to have your men checked. All of your guards need to look inside their lips. You might have infiltrators.
Will do. I also have their faces being fucking plastered everywhere. They won't be able to shit sideways without somebody knowing who they are.
If we've no other business here, we should take the things that we came to find and go.
I agree. I will have a sweep done of my men first before we leave, and then I will leave this place guarded for now.
So you're gonna do a sweep down and check people's lips and stuff?
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
I'm also... Are Erald and... Drake, what's your character's name again?
Rebello.
Rebello. Are Erald and Rebello able to look for evidence of mental tampering?
Not my wizardry.
I don't think I have anything of the sorts.
What was that?
I don't think I have anything of the sorts.
You can always detect magic as a spellcaster, and like you will always feel if someone has used magic around you, just without even rolling the dice for it. There's like, ooh,
but
that is something.
But we also know that these guys have been whammied, so like if all you can tell is that magic has been used, they're gonna pop.
Yeah.
So yeah, exactly. So to actually know what kind of magic and so on, you would have to do a detect magic. Then that will give you, like, this was tectonic summons or necromancy or mentalism or what have you. But that will only work if the caster didn't obfuscate their, like, obscure their casting using their own powers that you can also do.
Which we can count that these guys did.
And then you would have to basically use extra fate dice to get through that seal. So if you put down one to hide your magic, then the person who wants to uncover that will have to...
Needs to.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, well, yes. I will look for physical signs.
I think that's how it works, but I can double check. But anyway. But at this point, Rebello, in fact, is unfortunately out of fate dice, and thus cannot Though, and let's see now, to communicate the will of the gods to the people. Have we done any of that so far this session, Drake?
No, we have not.
Alas. Nor have you given in to your emotional temptations.
Nope.
Hey, look, I just want to throw this out there as kind of like an out of character thing. We got a whole order of leftover monks who are now looking for jobs in case you want to start a cult all your own.
Jokes aside,
That might not be a bad idea.
Promos, you might have actually hit on something specifically because of the fact that right now the Holy Kishot's a mess and you're a defector for all intents and purposes. That might want to build a rebellion against the current Holy Kishot leader.
Ooh.
Great way to start it.
Yeah, I could rally these guys. Not technically rally, but I could kind of recruit this group of monks.
Yeah, that's gonna be a bit trickier though, because like
It would be a difficult task.
Yes, it's a water thing. There is, in fact, an ability for rabble rousing, but you don't have that, of course. Also, it's not used quite that way. So, but if you want to do that, I would say that you would have to stay here for a while and talk to people one at a time and slowly build that up. So you'd have to decide if you want to spend that time or not. You might not. It depends on where your investigations are going.
Oh, these guys are also going to be scattered to the wind as soon as Praanz tells them, hey, there's nothing else here. Like the order's done.
Yeah.
You can stay in your cool skull house for as long as you like, but not a whole lot of it. It's like an abandoned cathedral, right?
Yes, it is.
Promos is just going to make sure that he takes two things with him before he goes back to the boat and starts getting ready to get the hell out of this place. He's going to take a lock of Terralisa's hair. He's not going to stay around for any funerary services or to see her buried. He just takes a lock of her hair, and he's going to take one of the coals from the fire that Erald was talking from.
Oh.
So
That is a very particular souvenir, isn't it?
As Erald will actually follow Promos back up to the skull during that time.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm assuming that our dear friend Kinkaris is most likely now currently taking up shop in there, for lack of better terms.
Yeah, basically, yeah.
I'm using Detect Magic on Kinkaris.
Okay.
So I want to see if he was played with, what have you. I have fake dice. It's better than nothing, at least. I know that he does have the ability to talk to the mountain, so...
Of course.
But it's one of those things of, I'm wondering if he was knowingly or unknowingly in on it.
Has anyone mentalisted him?
Right.
So, let's see now. Go ahead and roll then. You can use your fire for this because you have pyromancy, so fire and a fate die. That's a single success. Kind of miserable. You can't detect anyone having magicked him.
Good enough.
And
that would have been
that's
the only
take,
person that I would be concerned about.
By now you're exhausted, I'm going to say.
Okay.
Been a long day. Emotionally and otherwise. Which also reminds me of something else. So have you further rid this land of anti-creationists? Like, you've just declared war on a bunch of people who you would call anti-creationists, right? It's the first time you've done that in this campaign.
This is as close to, I know Default's Guild, for lack of better terms. I've got a good, stronger understanding of that they probably are, but I'm dealing with my consequence of misery on that front, and I haven't done shit because of it.
Yep.
But
I'm going to say that you gain 3 fate dice for putting up wanted posters, and,
Excellent.
Sifanu, Sir Artigue might not be an anti-creationist by all the definitions, but there's no doubt in anyone's mind that Sifanu is an arch anti-creationist, right? He has even has a reputation for being a necromancer by now.
Yeah, he brought Praanz back from the dead.
Yes.
Yeah, and as far as
But that's not why. It's because he's actually rose the dead on several occasions. If you go back to the Digitalonga notes from Himbergon from a year and a half ago, there's literal reports of the dead rising in various camps, labor camp, mining camps.
Yeah, and as far as Erald's concerned, if they know that they're doing it, they're just guilty by association. Sure. And they've caused enough headaches for the Empire and by proxy the Animalist Inquisition that they're warranted to be called upon.
So, you have fulfilled your shadow command, protect creation from anti-creationists, at least in that regard. We're gonna have to build a new one for you, because you, Sir Erald, has just leveled up.
Hey.
So I'm gonna say that you're using the evening after this long day of investigation to do just that. What are we getting a new something in?
That is a wonderful question. I don't immediately know, but if I had to take an educated guess, it's probably continuation in either pyromancy or probably about what just experienced here. So whether it's sleuth work, investigation, like continuing down the thievery path, like something that basically I quite literally used this session, it would make the most amount of sense, right? So I don't know exactly what it is
anything
yet,
that you've used since you leveled up the last time.
Yeah.
Is completely allowed.
Fair game. Okay.
Now,
Let's get
it's
back to
wider than I mean, you've used Machinator, you've used... your companion have had very little to do during the downtime between the books, to be honest.
Yeah.
So maybe not him. But the other three are fair game. Thievery, there's pickpocket, there's lockpicking, you already have that. Acrobatics, quick-footed, and knife fighter.
Yeah, probably not.
I'm not sure you've done any of that, really.
No, I really haven't. No.
Machinator,
So
you've done a lot of. You've done insight all the time, right? Others that could be interesting. Hooks. If you talk to NPCs, you can suss out their deepest secrets and use them against them. So that gains you get a dirty secret on them. That gains you extra dice against them when you're rolling manipulation. Discretion is basically using Machinator as a sneaking skill. Rabble Rouser is to whip up a crowd into a frenzy against a targeted individual. That's the one I talked about recently. And Gossip, you're a master at spreading false rumors. Water plus a fate die, giving one chosen individual +1 reputation is normally the difficulty of 2. You've done a lot of that too, honestly, when you've been sneaking around here and there.
Yep. Yeah, I think I'll probably just crank up pyromancy at this point.
All right. Pyromancy it is.
Brainer in another game.
So, what do we write for an experience? A fire told me who killed the Pietro.
Yeah,
that's going to be it.
Work. Right? That literally will be it. Exactly.
I learned the truth in the flames.
Yeah, the truth told the flames.
Yes.
Yeah.
There we have it. And you are now a level 3.
Woohoo!
How did that feel?
Yay.
Yay. Praanz is at level 2?
Yes. I have one more experience, I think.
Yeah. And
that's fine.
Promos, I believe, is still level 1.
Correct.
But we're getting there, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's almost like there might be some sea traveling during this story, and I have a feeling. Yeah. All right, you guys. I think it's actually a good place to pause the action for today, because unless your guards are going to do the whole thing with finding people with weird thing under the lip.
Yeah, the only other thing Praanz would be doing would be interrogating the other guests to make sure she hasn't missed anything.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we can do a few minutes with that, I suppose. I was thinking about wrapping up Mount Ranz this session, the investigations here, so why not? I mean, you recognize a bunch of the nobles. You were there at the supper, right?
I was.
The nobles, yeah. You will recall that one of them ended up in bed with Malachi at some point. And
yes.
Real fast, I unfortunately have to depart, but Promos will make sure that while Praanz is interviewing these nobles, that he commandeers as much booze as he can fit on the boat.
That is
Excellent.
That's going to be a lot of booze, to be honest.
Yeah, the group, once they leave, Promus is going to go out in the middle of the lake, and we're all getting fucking torn apart because we lost a friend, and he doesn't know how else to deal. He does not have healthy coping mechanisms. This is the only one he knows.
In fairness, that's pretty much how Praanz deals too. That and a lot of bloodshed.
You know,
Excellent.
we can start next session with doing that ceremony. And just to wrap things up here, you will find Suladan Rumpelak, the potion maker apothecary from Marjura. He's here. None of these
I
guys...
immediately start interrogating him about the poison.
Yeah, that might be a fruitful avenue. So maybe we should actually do that in more depth next time. The noble, they're like, no, we have no idea what happened here. It's just a bunch of hours that you spend getting just about nothing. And with that, we end. This was just one day, you guys. We
It's a rough
end.
day.
And
It was a
I
rough
was
day.
wondering.
It was a long day. The 9th of Fatesco.
What's up,
I
Drake?
was wondering if I could check out Paralisi's office to see if I could find a report that I was supposed to get.
Her quarters.
Yeah, her quarters. I was sent here to get a report from her.
Ah, yes. Yes, you do need to get a report from her.
Some of her paperwork was missing, but I don't know if it's the stuff I need.
I think
Yeah,
it was
gotta go
just
through
the
rest.
No, there was the
Pietro's
Pietro
paperwork.
Petralbon's paperwork that was missing. You know, let
Not
me get
Terralisi's.
back to you. That office is definitely going to be open to you. Let me get back to you between the sessions with what you find there.
All right.
And don't let me forget about it. So, welcome to the Grand Conflux Saga campaign to Drake Dempsey, who is right
Yes.
here and has been a wonderful Rubello and already talked to the wind. He can do that.
Yep.
And in fact, when he gets strong enough, he can fly, but we'll see how that goes.
That's cool.
It's a thing you can do with that magic. Yes, you make yourself light as
wind
a
weaving.
feather and just
Great.
fly away. And also, I'm sure that Rubello and Promos will become fast friends because Rubello can literally tail the wind to blow exactly how you need it in the sail.
It's lovely. We're going to get ourselves an asbestos sail, and we'll be unstoppable.
Yep.
Not only the wind, but I can also control the rain.
Hey. All right. I love you guys. I'll see you guys in 2 weeks. Yes?
Yep.
Yes.
1 week, actually, because our ordinary would have been, so it's 1 week.
1 week. Throw me a reminder, and I'll see you guys then.
Indeed.
Yeah, thank
Okay,
you. Bye-bye.
Thanks,
and
everyone.
see you everybody in a week again. Bye. Thanks for
Adios.
playing.
See you.